When the mic is hot, come on.
Welcome to the Extension Edit. So today I have Dalton Black from United Way of Harvey and Marion counties. We're going to talk with Dalton a little bit about what United Way is, the organization, what you're doing locally, and highlight some of the great work you've been doing. So hi, Dalton. Thank you for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's my first interview, and it's totally awkward. So for people who may not know, what exactly does United Way do?
Yeah, United Way started, I'll give you the long version. United Way started in 1887 in Denver, Colorado. And it starts like a bad joke. A minister, a rabbi, and two priests came together to say that, we had a lot of wonderful organizations that are feeding the hungry, that are housing those who are living on the streets. They're doing incredible work, but what's holding them back from doing more? Finances. They didn't have the money to continue to do the work at the level that it needed to be done. So United Way was formed as a fundraising organization to fill that gap in the communities that they serve, so that the organizations could really focus on helping people, and United Way would focus on empowering them to do that work. United Way started in Harvey County in 1955, and 1955 until about 2022, we did just that. We were a fundraising organization. We give out over $100,000 each year to around 20 organizations every year. But in 2022, we really started to look at what is our community missing? What can we do to address the gaps that we see between the wonderful organizations that are doing this great work and what communities are actually needing services, what kind of services they're needing. So we started taking what I call a 3-tiered approach. We still do the community investment part. It's always going to be a part of our programming. But we started doing community impact, so we have 3 coalitions that we convene: the Healthy Harvey Coalition, Housing Alliance, and the Child Care Task Force. All 3 of those groups are collective action, so we are bringing organizations, providers, folks who are interested in addressing those things in our community together to bring solutions together. And then we also started doing some direct service. That's our 3rd pillar with our resource navigation program, which actually is boots on the ground helping people navigate the systems that they have to navigate for services. So helping people find available resources for paying rent, utilities, childcare, if they're facing an eviction, helping them sort of work with their landlord to come up with a plan so they can stay housed, really doing some important work to repair relationships and help people navigate systems.
So that's fairly new, right? The resource navigation.
Yeah, so our resource navigation started in July of 25, so we are coming up on a year. That program, our navigator is Leah Lawrence, and she sees anywhere from 40 to 60 new clients, or 40 to 60 clients a month. And just as many are dropping in just to say, hey, I heard this resource is available. Can you help me? So it very quickly blossomed into this wonderful thing for our community, but it's a lot.
Tell me more about it. Like, what sort of services is she offering?
Yeah. So the biggest need that she sees is folks that are dealing with a housing issue, whether they are currently unhoused, are at risk of being unhoused. So this is more than just, here's a resource guide with some phone numbers. Anybody can access that. But if you're in crisis and you don't have the available resources, sometimes a list of phone numbers is really overwhelming. So Leah sort of sits with the client to really fully understand the complexity of their issue, because it could be that they have tried a couple of different resources and those aren't available. So now they're feeling a bit like, well, now I don't have anything available to me. So really to understand the issue and walk alongside them, sometimes that looks like a warm handoff. Like, I know somebody who can help you here. Let me get you in contact with them. Sometimes that looks like, let me talk with you and your landlord to see if we can come up with a plan to keep you in the house, but is still addressing what the landlord needs, which is rent. So the work looks different for each client that comes in. And some people do just want a list of resources, and we'll provide that if that's what they want.
Where is that located?
That's located at the library. That's a wonderful partnership that started back when we had our old library, between the library director, United Way, and NMC Health, actually. So the library was interested because many folks would come into the library seeking resources and utilizing the computers because they're free, and would ask the library staff for assistance with what maybe appeared to be a technical issue, like I need help printing something, but that's really not what the issue was. It was more, I'm trying to get this SNAP application and I don't really know how to fill it out. Can you help me? And the library really felt like that's not our lane. Like we provide this service here to use our computers, but we're not social workers. And then for the hospital, they saw a lot of folks ending up in the emergency department with maybe some non-emergent needs after they would leave, and they didn't really have a place for them to land. So that's how the three of us sort of came together to start talking about this program. And there are other navigator type positions in our community, but the challenging thing about that is often you have to be a client. So if they're not a client of Prairie View, they can't really access that particular service or any of the other ones. So what's nice about LEA is it's a free, anybody can access it. So we do have folks who are literally unhoused, but then we also have folks that are like, I was working, but now I am disabled and I'm waiting on that assistance to kick in and I just need a little bit of help to get me to the other side. So the spectrum is large there.
Yeah. It's been great as far as what I've seen there. So to shift gears, what do you love most about serving Harvey and Marion counties?
Yeah. I love when we get informed information about our community. Like, what's nice about resource navigation is often it's highlighting where the gaps are in our community. So if LEA is attempting to get somebody set up with a resource and it's just not there, what's nice is we can then elevate that to the community to say, there's a persistent issue here that our community can address together. And so that's really where I like it. That's where I feel like the magic happens when we hear the direct, like, here is where we need to lift our people up. And then United Way brings in community impact to say, okay, Housing Alliance, we are having a lot of people who are struggling with a housing need. How can we serve those folks? What does that look like? Do we need more low-income housing? Do we need more just starter homes? Because Harvey County in and of itself is just lacking in the number of homes it has on the market. So really trying to figure out where our place is in that puzzle to meet the needs of the clients we serve. Seems
like you are like really tapped into the community and like know what the needs are.
I would like to think so.
You'd like to think so? What do you think are the needs that people probably don't think about?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges I think that we are trying to tell the story of is looking at the data from our resource navigation program. It's somewhere around 37% of those clients that we've served that have said, I don't have enough food. I'm going hungry. But then of that same 37, only 24% actually are able to access programs like SNAP. So there's obviously this disconnect between services that are available and people who need them.
And that's due to like income or?
Yes. And
yeah,
income and then any number of various complexities that people in crisis are experiencing. But we know that more and more folks, that federal poverty line is not moving.
Yeah.
But what we're noticing is this gap in between what people need to survive, that's getting larger. And so in Harvey County, so we call that the ALICE data. So that stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, Employed. So it's folks who are above the federal poverty line and are working and trying to make ends meet, but they're just not making it happen. Yeah. And that can be for any number of reasons, but often it's because they have low paying jobs and lots of expenses. We know that inflation has been high, and if salaries aren't keeping up with that, it's just going to widen the gap. So we're dealing with about 34% of our population falls below that survival budget in Harvey County and 39 in Marion County. So we're looking at a third of our population that's really struggling to make ends meet.
So what is a moment in your role that has stuck with you?
I think one of the best moments we've had is like I said earlier, with where the magic really is the clients we serve and when it can turn into action for us to address in the community. We have seen a lot of folks come through our resource navigation program who are facing eviction for whatever reason. And in Kansas, and in most states, if you have an eviction, it just stays on your record for life. And that can create a real barrier in future housing. So hearing this from our navigation program, we realized if we wanted to change that, we really had to change the system. So United Way and the Housing Alliance decided to do some advocacy at the state level. So we advocated for an eviction expungement bill, which just was signed into law and starts July 1. Yeah, so if a person faces an eviction, has it on the record, if they satisfy the judgment and 3 years has passed, they can have that expunged off their record. So it's really going to create a pathway for many families to access stable housing in the future.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
And you were a part of it.
Yes. I testified in front of the Senate hearing committee, and it was a new experience for me, but it was one that really felt important because I got to tell Harvey County and Marion County stories to the folks that needed to hear them.
So more nerve-wracking that or this?
Yeah. Well, again, I was on camera.
I know.
So.
Okay, so what exciting things are coming up for United Way?
Yeah. We've got some great things. I'm super excited about the work of our Healthy Harvey Coalition right now. We are in the farmers market season, which is always exciting for us. One of the things we're working with Heston, the community of Heston on, we were awarded a grant to do a feasibility study on a fresh food market. So providing an opportunity for local growers to provide fresh food year-round, and then coming up with systems to stock that in the off-growing seasons. I think it would be a really awesome thing to have a place in Heston where folks can get groceries. They can get fresh food without having to drive to Newton or anywhere else. To have it right in their backyard is going to be a super important element, and just elevate the things that the farmers market can provide with giving them an indoor space. So I'm super excited about that project. It should kick off here in the next few weeks.
Well, good luck to that.
Thanks.
It's exciting. All right, so how can people learn to get more involved with United Way?
Yeah, we welcome anybody at whatever level of engagement makes sense for them. So if they just want to support us financially, that's awesome. If they want to sit on a coalition or a task force, that's great, because the more voices we can add to that, the better. If you just want to refer clients to our resource navigation, maybe you have a family member who's fallen on hard times, United Way is there to support. But they can find out information about us on our website, uwhmc.org. We are also on Facebook and all the social medias. We do a good job of sharing out opportunities for people to engage, and just would invite anybody to come to the table.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. It sounds like you guys are doing some great things for Harvey County.
Thank you.